Here with you guys, mini series, all these different character flaws that ended up having the kingdom stripped from them. So the last thing I kind of want to hit is today, thing called insecurity. All right. So there's this whole story in 1 Samuel, I believe it's 15, chapter 15, where Saul was supposed to be, going out to battle and, destroying like the entire like Amalekites or something like that. And he does that, but then he like holds on to some plunder, some sheep and some oxen. And so Samuel comes and, Saul's like, look what I did. I did it. I did exactly what God told me to do. And Samuel's like, well, what's this sound of sheep that I hear in my ear then? Didn't God say to, just wipe everything out? And then Samuel proceeds to say in verse 17, although you may think little of yourself, hasn't God placed you as the king over Israel? God has anointed you king, right? And this is something that Saul struggled with his entire journey as being a king. In the very beginning, he's talking about, how he's from the smallest tribe and stuff like that. And, even when David starts to come up, he's very insecure with how David is outshining him and all this stuff. And so, man, it really just had me thinking about this term, this insecurity, and so I looked it up because I absolutely love definitions. And so insecurity is uncertainty and anxiety over oneself. And it's crazy because, man, isn't that the truth? When we're uncertain of ourselves, we become insecure, right? And I think about it, I feel like this tracks all the way back to certain of themselves. And after the fall, they, went after this insecurity. It's kind of crazy out here. I'm trying to do this crosswalk thing, man, and these cars, they don't ever watch for pedestrians. And so their insecurity caused them to, put these fig leaves on and, cover themselves. And, I think about, what Saul's fig leaves were. He tried to cover himself in front of people and tried to look like he was doing the right thing and, try to make decisions to like please people. And, this can show up in our relationships, right? Where we're, just trying to cover ourselves and trying to cover up our insecurities with, anger or, trying to put on confidence or, whatever the case may be. And I feel like a lot of times it can hinder our relationships. It can hinder, our jobs, if we're comparing ourselves. And, that's really one thing that will lead to insecurity is when you compare yourself to other people, right? Like, man, nobody wins in the game of comparison, right? Because either you compare yourself with somebody that you think is less than you and it pushes you into pride, or you compare yourself to somebody who you think is greater than you and you feel all inferior, which is still pride, right? There's a reason why Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors, right? Because, man, somebody may enjoy Rocky Road, but if you're like me, man, it's all about that rainbow sherbet. Come on, somebody. I think I'm the only adult that gets rainbow sherbet, and I love it, right? And it's like that in life, right? Like, you are made and formed, and God formed you just the way you are for that specific reason, right? And so whether you're, working or, you're speaking or anything like that, like there is a certain flavor that God made you. And you have to be okay with that. You can't be like, why can't I be Rocky Road? Why can't I be, this other flavor? Like, God made you specifically to be you. And only you can be the best version of you, And so I feel like if Saul got that, and if he could, not worry about what people thought or all this different stuff, then he could have been the best version of himself and probably would have, led a awesome, kingship. But he didn't, and he got caught up in comparing himself to David, comparing himself to Samuel, like all this stuff, and making all these bad decisions. And, it's funny because in that chapter, right after that moment was when the kingdom was taken away from him. So that's it. For my word of the day Wednesday. Watch out for insecurity. Watch out. Man, that's probably super loud. They got this diesel